Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. We're on Anchor, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube at the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. Check us out on all those locations. Drink, great to have you along as always.
Hey man, and I'm glad to be along. You know what time it is. How everything going over with you and yours?
It's going good, man. Going good. You?
You know, we back in it again. We back in the lab, people. You know, another day, another dollar. You know, we here to give the streets what they need. That drippy drip. We see what they don't. We say what they want. Set the plate because it's time to eat. And thank you for coming with us on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And last but not least, let's talk some sports, baby. Let's roll, Jay.
All right, this is episode 5 of season 3 where Derrick Henry runs wild, Ben Simmons has had enough, and we recap the weekend in college football. But we start with Sunday Night Football where the Baltimore Chiefs, I really just said Baltimore Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs took their first loss of the season to the Baltimore Ravens, 36-35. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, another duel in their young careers. Lamar Jackson, this was his first win against the Kansas City Chiefs. He had lost his first 3 meetings against Kansas City. Didn't have a great game throwing the football. Did throw 2 picks, both to Tyrann Mathieu, but had a great, pretty entertaining jump pass to Hollywood Brown I believe that was for a touchdown. Also had a big night on the ground, 16 carries, 107 yards, and 2 scores there. Tyson Williams had a nice game on the ground. Latavius Murray, a rushing touchdown, and Tavon Young had an interception for their defense. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes, good game, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, 24 for 31. Big game for Travis Kelce. He had 7 catches, 109 yards. The Ravens did keep Tyreek Hill under wraps, 3 catches, 14 yards. And in the end, it was a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble that allowed Baltimore to escape with that 36-35 win. Drink, as far as this game went, what'd you think of it?
I mean, I think it was a reason it was a primetime game. I think it was a reason why I had a lot of hype around it. Two young stars in today's NFL, and I think it lived up to said hype. But one thing I do want to get out here on the tape, right? Yes, the Ravens beat Kansas City. Yes, Kansas City was, this game, Kansas City kind of deserved to lose this game because I thought they played around a little bit. And yes, the Ravens won. But this is not Baltimore to figure Kansas City out. I wouldn't necessarily say that. What I will say is Baltimore ran the right offense if you want to beat a team like Kansas City. But just like you said in the lead-in, if Edwards-Helaire doesn't fumble, I think Kansas City scores and the game is over. I think that clearly that fumble was probably the biggest play in the game for me. And then we seen what Lamar Jackson did. But yeah, it was a cool win. It was a cool win. And honestly, I'm going to keep it brief. You went over the numbers, so I'm not even going to regurgitate the numbers. Here's the deal. It was a good win for Baltimore. Baltimore has not caught up with the Chiefs. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this, man. What if off the top of your head, what would you say your favorite restaurant is?
Put me on the spot. Off the top of my head, it's probably Chipotle.
Okay, it's Chipotle. Like Chipotle, I'm assuming it's your favorite restaurant because they're pretty consistent. You get what you want normally. You go in there, you make your stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's good. But let's say you went to Moe's one day. Moe's and Chipotle, they major competition. And Moe's just knocks it out the park. Like, they do everything the way you want it. You like, yo, this Moe's is good. Does that make Moe's better than Chipotle?
I don't think it makes them. No, I don't think it'd make them better. It's just, I guess.
So my analogy is this: Patrick Mahomes have built this real estate for himself this whole time he's been in the NFL, and he had different competitors. I might add. He first came in. They was trying to say if Tom Brady stayed with the Patriots, this is the old coming in with the new. we know the saga with Lamar Jackson. He evidently he got a saga with Josh Allen now. Mm-hmm. So so I say that to say this. Yes, Lamar Jackson was electric. I thought what Lamar Jackson did Sunday night was just incredible. But that one game does not make him better than Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not necessarily talking to you, Jay. I'm talking to. I hear a lot of chat out here. Lamar finally got that win. Here we go. It's time to crank up the buses. We ready to go. No, hold up. Mose was good that one time. I ain't forgot about Chipotle and all the money I done spent with them and how good this food been for decades. Oh, well, not decades, but for years and years on hand. Just because Mose was good one day. And this is what I think is happening here. I'm hearing all this stuff about Lamar Jackson. That game did not prove. Okay, Lamar Jackson did find Hollywood Brown for 113 yards. Kudos to that. But also, I'm not convinced that Lamar Jackson had turned into 2.0 or nothing. If they played again tonight, and you told me I had to bet my mortgage, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. I don't care that the Ravens won that one game. What are we doing here? So I just threw out a fool analogy to make it make more sense. But yeah, I think people got to pump the brakes just because Lamar Jackson won one game. That all of a sudden, okay, now he ready for Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that was true at all. What I can say though, their offense was very, very effective against what the Chiefs want to do. The best way to beat a talented team is keep whichever side of the ball makes them very talented off the field. And that's what the Ravens did. That with that power run game, which I might let me add this right now for all the people. Kansas City, they flawed. This is all you got to do. How many teams in the NFL got a Lamar Jackson running their offense? I'm just saying. It's not many teams that can do what Lamar Jackson did with that run game. Like, you got to have a special type of quarterback and then a special type of run game. And then you got to have tight ends that's willing to block majority of the game. And it's a whole lot of stuff that go into it. It ain't a lot of teams built like that. But I thought the strategy by John Harbaugh was smart to keep Mahomes on the sideline. Now, the thing is, even with that strategy, you still almost lost the game. But they just show you how electric Kansas City is. And with that said, also what I didn't like was, Tyreek Hill, he got all in his feelings because, Anthony Avery, the backup cornerback, he replaced Marcus Peters. Like, he got all in his feelings, like, because I guess the guy was celebrating. Like, what? You Tyreek Hill. You damn right he was celebrating. He a backup cornerback. You Tyreek Hill. You had 3 catches for 14 yards. I would celebrate too. What are you so mad about? Okay, dude, I get it. He was like, well, we'll see them again. We'll play better, but you crap. Dude, that's an accomplishment. You are a accomplishment. If I can stop you, I'm wearing that around my neck, and that's what he did. I didn't like the fact that I'm gonna clap back. Yeah. No, you need to worry about winning these other games and stop thinking people just handing y'all stuff. That's what you need to clap back at. But Tyrann Mathieu was back. He made an impact in this game. Had to give him a shout out with that pick 6. You know what it is. But and all in all, man, this is pretty simple to me. That's why I don't want to really dive into it. If these teams play 10 times, I can feel like Kansas City can win the other 9. We'll get a Ravens the first one. We'll just win the other 9. I don't think this game moved the pinnacle of the power players in the AFC, but it was a very entertaining game. I thought the Ravens' run game was nice. Lamar did throw the ball more, but this game did not do anything as far as what I think of Lamar Jackson, what I think about the Baltimore Ravens. If anything, it was Elaire. You got to hold on to the ball. It might change my opinion of him a little bit because it's crunch time, baby. What we doing here? Got to hold on to the ball. But I like I said, these teams play 9 more times. I'll take Kansas City 9-0. And I appreciate the game. Thought it was a good game, but this game didn't really move the needle for either team as far as I think of them right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Baltimore, in a sense, escaped last night. Kansas City had that game in hand. They were up 2 possessions in the second
Sunday
half.
night.
Sunday night, you're right.
Sun-
But yeah, Kansas City was in control. They was up 11 points in the second half. And then you have not only did Edwards-Helaire fumble the ball on a possession to end the game where they had an opportunity perhaps to kick the game-winning field goal, but 2 possessions prior to that, when they're up 11, Mahomes makes maybe the worst decision of his career. Just he's in the grass, about to go down, and he just like flings it Brandon Whedon style forward, and Tavon Young has it. He had no chance on that play. I mean, that's just a situation where I know you're Patrick Mahomes and you're the best, you're the best thing smoking, but let that one go. You know, live to fight another drive or another play or whatever, however you want to frame it. So Kansas City made those 2 turnovers were absolute killers. They got some things to be concerned about, Kansas City. Now, with that being said, there aren't many teams that's going to be able to attack them and employ that strategy of ball control like Cleveland and like Baltimore. These are 2 run-first power football teams that, and I think you're right, I think everybody would like to employ this strategy of ball control, hold the ball for 35 minutes plus, but there's very few teams that's going to be able to execute that. These are 2 of them, but obviously moving forward, you got to be somewhat concerned if you're Kansas City, because you could very well see one of these teams again down the line. And it was almost the last week they got behind, they had to claw their way back against a team that can run the football. This week is the opposite. You think you feel a little bit better playing from the front. Maybe Lamar Jackson has thrown the ball a bit more. That's not what happened. I tell you one thing, the defense, and I know Kansas City typically they start slow on defense, and we're like, oh man, is this defense going to be able to do enough? Past few years, normally it's been yes, they are good enough to do just enough to make it. They'll get a few stops, to compensate for that 1 or 2 drives where the Chiefs offense can't do it for you. And it's only 2 games, but this rush defense is hard. They're not good right now. I don't know if it has to do with Chris Jones sliding the defensive end. Maybe that's some of it. But they're giving up 202 yards a game through 2 games. That is by far the worst in football. That's 40 yards worse than Seattle and the Chargers. So obviously something to be concerned about, because moving forward, this is what they're going to face. Every other team might not be able to replicate this completely, but they are going to try it. And Kansas City's got to get more physical up front. Maybe you got to devote more people to the box to just start there. But at the same time, Baltimore is a unique challenge because of what Lamar Jackson can do. Even though Tyson Williams and Latavius Murray still had impacts. So, it's a 2-sided argument. But they do have to be better, because obviously against Cleveland, they weren't very good against the run either. But outside of that, I mean, other than the one mistake Mahomes did, he was pretty flawless. And the thing you like about it is Baltimore came with a game plan. They said, we will not get beat deep. Tyreek Hill is not beating us tonight. And he didn't. They held him down. But of course, if you take Tyreek Hill away, it's very hard to take Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce away. And they couldn't take Kelce out the game. Kelce had he had over 100 yards, had 7 catches, scored a touchdown. And then of course you have all these other, speedy guys that can do things for you. You got to deal with Hardman. Every now and again you got to deal with Robinson. Then Byron Pringle comes in. So they got a lot of guys that they employ. They do a lot of different things. They can get the ball to the edge with, different players with great speed. And that was a problem. But Baltimore, I mean, They executed their game plan as best they could. They took Tyreek Hill away. They didn't allow Kansas City to really run the ball. But as much as they were able to do right, Patrick Mahomes is quite simply he's the best quarterback in football. And even with all they did right, they still probably should have lost this game, and they should be 0-2, even though I still believe they should have won the week before against the Raiders. That's the game they should have won. They won. They escaped with this game, so they are rightly 1-1. But they are fortunate that they're not 0-2. And Kansas City, I think Kansas City will be fine ultimately. The run defense and the rush offense definitely got to be points of emphasis. And maybe they have to do something around the trade deadline too. But all in all, I do agree with you. Like Kansas City I think they're a superior football team. They just let one slip away last night, quite literally.